What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Azkhalon, and welcome back to another College Football 26 video. So I made a spreadsheet of every player in the game that you can edit, so all of the non-opted-in players, and I'm going to talk in this video briefly about the spreadsheet and where you guys can find it so you can access it for yourself. So let's go ahead and get into the video. Let's go. So I know a lot of old heads like me, and even non-old heads, you like to be able to edit players in the NCAA football games back in the day. Like, that was one of the huge things that you got to do before we had to worry about all the NIL stuff. Now with the NIL stuff, some of the teams, don't have a whole lot of players that you can edit. So just like last year, I went through and I found all of the players that you can edit for those of you who are interested. So let's take a look at my spreadsheet. So on my spreadsheet, you'll find that I have all of the teams separated by conference in alphabetical order. So we have the ACC, then the American, then the Big 10, then the Big 12, Conference USA, the two independent teams, the MAC, Mountain West, Pac-12, SEC, and Sun Belt Conference. If you look on the spreadsheet, all of the teams have players that you can edit. There are a few teams that only have, like, I think 5 or 6 players that you can edit, so they don't have a whole lot. But most of the teams have more than that, and EA hasn't dropped a roster update yet. And so when they do, that's going to probably shrink the amount of editable players. But if you go ahead and save your rosters, so save the current rosters. I did one where I think I saved it as, like, launch rosters or something like that. So that way in the future, you can access the launch rosters and you'll have all of these players that's on my spreadsheet that you can edit. But with each roster update, I am going to create a new version of the spreadsheet. I'm going to remove any players that are no longer editable. And so I'll post that along with the original one. So the original spreadsheet will remain the same, and I'll just make new ones each time in the future whenever they do a roster update. So those of you who are interested in any of the changes, like if you didn't save the original rosters or whatever, you'll still know which players that you can edit and which ones you can't. All right, a few things that I noticed for each conference. So we're going to start with the ACC. So I think Duke has the least amount of players that you can edit. Boston College has a lot of players that you can edit. So if you're looking for a team for your rebuilds in Dynasty, Boston College might be a pretty good one. They have a lot of players that you can edit. As you would typically expect, your bigger teams like Clemson and Miami, Florida State, that's in the ACC, they have a few players that you can edit, but they don't have a whole lot, but they do have some. If you're interested in those teams, you can check them out and see who all are available for you to edit. In the American Conference, you can always count on the military schools to have a good amount of athletes to edit, at least initially. That the same thing happened last year. Army's got a good amount, but Navy has tons of players for you to edit. Florida Atlantic is another one that stood out to me in the American Conference with a lot of players as well. South Florida, they have the least amount. They only have 5. And like I said earlier, I think 5 is the least I've seen for teams in the game. I don't think there are any teams below 5, but we'll keep going through and maybe we'll find some and we'll see, and I'll let you know which ones have less than 5. But I think 5 was kind of the lowest amount. In the Big 10, Iowa has a lot of players that you guys can edit, so that might make another good team to use for a rebuild. USC surprised me by having a lot of players that you can edit. I expected their list to be pretty small, but it's pretty long. So USC, if you like playing as USC, they got a good amount of players that you can edit. The Big 10, for the most part, they got a lot of players. Michigan and Michigan State, they have the least amount. Both of them are coming in with 5 players that you can edit. But the Big 10 looks pretty good, and that's a pretty strong conference in real life. And so you can take your pick of whatever team you want there. They have a lot of players that you can edit. The Big 12, the same thing. BYU has a lot of players. Baylor, Arizona, they all got a good amount. Even Colorado has a decent amount of players. They have more than I expected. I think Arizona State and Oklahoma State have the least amount, but Kansas State's got a lot. Utah has a lot. So the Big 12 is another good conference all around that you can, select teams from for your dynasties and stuff like that. Okay, I found a team with only 4 players. Kennesaw State had a lot of players opt in. They only have 4 players that you can edit. So I think 4 is the least amount maybe. I don't think there's a team with less than that. But of course, Conference USA got your 2 new teams. So you have Delaware. They have a good amount of players that you can edit. And then Missouri State, they have even more that you can edit. New Mexico State has the most, definitely. Louisiana Tech has quite a bit in this conference as well. So again, you know, all of the teams got a few players that you can edit. So you can't go wrong with any particular team unless you're trying to pick a particular player. So what I did on the spreadsheet is I put the position that they currently are. You can change those, of course. I think they fixed some issues in Dynasty with changing player positions as long as it's within the same position group. But I also put the number there because the number, I can't remember, you might can change the number. Yeah, you can change the number once you get to Dynasty. But outside of Dynasty, you can't. So I included the numbers of the players as well. So you can see, like, maybe there's a player already on the team that kind of looks like the person you're trying to create or whatever that already has the number that you want. And so that way, you know for sure. But when you get into Dynasty, you know, if you're trying to change it to a particular number, you may not be able to, especially if there's an opted in player on your team currently that has that number on offense or defense. I think with Dynasty, you can have a person with the same number as long as one of them's on defense, one of them's on offense. And so even though you can change your numbers in Dynasty, you might be limited based on the opted in players. For the independents, they both got a lot of players. Notre Dame really surprised me. I expected more to opt in. But they have a lot of players that you can edit. The Mac's got a good amount. Buffalo has the least amount with 5. Kent State has a lot. Ball State has a lot. Eastern Michigan has a decent sized roster that you can edit. Northern Illinois has quite a bit as well. For the Mountain West, Air Force has a lot of players that you can edit there. Nevada has a good amount as well. Hawaii, New Mexico, Utah State is another good one for you guys if you want a team with a lot of players. San Diego State. So Mountain West, I think Mountain West possibly for the most part as a whole, they have a lot of players. They might even have the most. I don't know. The Big 10 and Big 12 had quite a bit as well. For the Pac-12, Oregon State doesn't have a whole lot, but they have a few. Washington State has a good amount. The SEC is what you probably would expect. You know, a lot of those players opting in on SEC teams, but there are still a few teams in the SEC that's got a good amount. Alabama has more than I expected. That one kind of surprised me, as well as Florida. South Carolina and Tennessee were pretty big surprises as well. They have a lot of players that you can edit. Texas kind of got more than I expected as well. So you still got a decent amount in the SEC, but of course, this is one of the conferences where, you know, a lot of players did opt in. Vanderbilt's got a nice size as well. Missouri there. Oklahoma. And then the Sun Belt, they're kind of like, what was it, the Mountain West? They have a lot as a whole as well. You know, most of the teams got dozens of players that you can edit. Georgia State has a lot here. Southern Miss has a lot. Old Dominion, that one's a pretty good one. They got pretty nice uniforms too, but Old Dominion has a lot of players that you can edit. So the Sun Belt is another one of those conferences that you got a lot to play with there. So how can you access my spreadsheet? There will be a link in the description below. I've also posted 2 other videos about how to edit players for Dynasty. And then there's one that's just like how to create a player. I can't remember what I titled it, but it was about editing or creating players. Those 2 videos, they have a link to the spreadsheet as well. So if you check out any of those 3 videos, this current one, I mean, if you're watching this one, you might as well just click on the link in this description. But the spreadsheet is also available in those other 2 videos. And each time EA updates the rosters and I create a new spreadsheet, I'm going to add a second link or a third link or a fourth link or whatever to all 3 of those videos. I probably won't make any more videos about this unless you guys really want me to. But those 3 videos you can always go back to in order to find the link to the spreadsheet. So again, the link is in the description below if you want to access the spreadsheet. All right, that brings me to the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button. More College Football 26 videos coming from your boy Azkhalon in the near future. Drop me a comment below. Let me know your thoughts about editing players. It blows my mind that EA is still not allowing us to create players or have even more creative control, because we're still limited with our editing. And I get the NIL stuff, I understand that, but I still don't feel like that's affecting that. I mean, when I can create whoever I want to in Road to Glory and stuff like that, like, I feel like if they're a computer generated player, we should be able to edit them however we want to, especially if we're using them in offline play and we're not playing online. So I don't get that. I don't understand that. But drop me a comment below. I would love to hear your thoughts about it. If you're new around here, check out all my content. In addition to College Football 26 videos, I do other sports games from time to time. I got indie horror game playthroughs on my channel. I do some ranking videos, got some other types of gaming content. So a variety here. So if you like the content, definitely hit that subscribe button. I just hit 4,000 subscribers recently. Thank you guys so much for the support. I truly appreciate it. I really do. Like, it's so awesome. It was so awesome seeing, you know, the 4K there. So I'm gonna keep making videos for you guys. You guys keep tuning in. Let me know different things that you guys want to see with College Football 26, and I got you. But I'm gonna get out of here. I will see you guys in another video, whatever video that may be. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. You could have been anywhere in the world playing College Football 26 yourself and editing players based on my spreadsheet, but you chose to spend some time with your boy Azkhalon. Wait, I don't know if that one made sense. Because it's like, never mind. Y'all take care. Peace.